Thank you for watching. As you watch this, chances are, if you are truly my benevolent, sincere viewers, followers, subscribers, chances are you'll be watching this on a different platform. Chances are you won't be logging in live, okay? The original air date is Saturday, I want to say August, is it the 9th? I want to say it's August the 9th, 2025, okay? And it's being aired approximately 9:22 a.m. Central Standard Time. That's the original air date, okay? However, this is going to be relevant for you when you see this video. My messages, the readings, they're timeless and is just based on where you're at, your story, if this is even going to apply to you, okay? Even if I'm someone that you like, even if I'm one of your favorite content creators, everything that I say and do may not apply to you. And it doesn't mean that you're wrong, I'm wrong, you're bad, I'm bad. It just means that, well, the nuance, okay? That's okay. You may not even necessarily agree with everything. That's okay too. We have been conditioned, you know, depending on our trauma, our upbringing and background and all of those things. I'm watching you, Osiris. Osiris, you're not slick. You're not slick. You're doing just like my other son is the same way. Y'all think when I'm distracted that I'm not paying attention. I can still see you, Osiris. Anyway, you know, we've been conditioned so rigid
And oh my God, it's like a four-letter word if someone does not agree with you. It doesn't see something your way, and it's like, oh gosh, what a disservice that is. What a disservice that is. But anywho, I am honored and thankful to have broken free of that kind of stuff, that kind of limitations, okay? Now, here's the message. They put you on a list. Somebody who knew somebody who knew somebody, you know, you go to, especially if it's a small town, it's very easy to do there. Okay? Because in small towns, the leadership, the authority is usually, you know, whatever's there. Okay? So it's something very, very easy to do, especially if, you know, somebody is in law enforcement and someone knows somebody in law enforcement. That's very easy to do. Now, I want to share, I was watching one of my old school favorite sitcoms called How I Met Your Mother. And in season, I want to say 8, or maybe the beginning of season 9, Ted, which is the main male figure in the show, he went through so much in love and in life. He just had a hard time. He was an architect, but he just was always in love with people who was never in love with him at the time that he was in love with them. And it just, he went through a lot, okay? And at some point, you know, he got stood up at the altar. Robin breaks his heart, just one thing and another. And he ends up meeting this crazy girl that seems to be in love with him. And she was actually following him around and stalking him. And they didn't know if it was adorable or creepy. They say if the other person feels the same way about you, then it's adorable. If the person don't feel the same way about you, then it's creepy. But lo and behold, in his case, it turned out to be creepy because she was like not screwed too tight upstairs. Okay, she was attractive. She was fun. He enjoyed her. They had great sex. And he himself was a little bit off at them times because, like I said, he had gone through a lot. She was a cop. Okay? She was a cop, but she was violent. She, you know, broke in his house. You know, she wouldn't leave. She was breaking all his shit when they would have an argument and fight. And she was stalking him, took shit, whatever. And he couldn't do anything about it. She was the police. Okay? I want y'all to think about that. Okay? And there's an episode where it's like he was trying to get her out of his apartment and they had called the police and she had the walkie-talkie and she took the call from his room, basically. So in this case, you know, she ends up, it's a funny story, but just toxic. And the point that I wanted to make with this is there's always been assumptions about law enforcement, assumptions about leadership, assumptions that they are operating properly or they would not dare abuse that power and use it for other reasons. And that's just wrong. That's ignorance, that's naivete, and it's not truth. Okay? So here's where I'm going with the message for y'all. This is something similar that happened to some of you. You could have went to a small town. It doesn't have to be a small town, but you could have definitely relocated to a small town and people didn't like you. People had a vibe about you. You know, you mind your business, but that's a problem for people who feel like they should know everything. Okay? And you could have started, you know, speaking your truth, your social media content creator. These people could have been following you there, and just, you name it. And it morphed and it morphed and it morphed. You could have been somebody who would voice if you had an issue with something, just anything, any healthy grounded, self-respecting adult would operate in. Okay? Nothing out of the ordinary. Okay? Nothing out of the ordinary. And they didn't like that. So they started sending people to befriend you, or anybody that they thought they saw you or heard that you would speak to or you were nice to. They tried to start to infiltrate those situations to get information about you. One thing and another. Okay, it started like that. Okay, some of you could have then started dating somebody again that they sent, and that person could have been trying to get you to befriend like some other people, so that, and that didn't work. Okay. Now, long story short, in your story, it could have, they did a whole lot, but then they decided to put you on a list. And the only way somebody can do that is if, like I said, in order to just get put on a list, there has to be, if there isn't due process, then there has to be someone that is in a position of power that can do it. Okay? A rando citizen can't just call and say, I want to put this person on the list because I suspect that they're a criminal, or I suspect this, that, and the third. It has to be someone that's in a position of power that say, okay, very well, I suspect this, so we're going to go ahead, bypass due process. We're going to exploit our power. We're going to utilize these fusion centers and, deep state and all these things. We're going to bypass all of that, and we're going to go ahead and put this person on a list so that we can have access, so that we can hire people, and that we can have access to surveillance, so that we can crack into all of their accounts, so that we can crack into their devices, so that we can put illegal surveillance anywhere that they frequent, where they live, where their children live, anywhere that they, so that we can do that. So we can tap into the internet technology using electronic weaponries, so that we can hire, like I said, hire various folks to participate in the harassment. They put you on a list. But guess what? Here's where it's getting interesting. They put you on a list, collector. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. And they hired good for nothings. Okay? They put you on a list, but now, check it out. It says they put you on a list. Now, they're on a list. And some of you are going to say, they're on a list? They're on the same list? No. They put you on their list illegally. They put you on the list because of personal issues, personal opinions without facts, hiding their so-called intelligence or their so-called expertise or their so-called positions. They scapegoated that. They hid behind that. Their real issue was not the issues in which they really had. The real issues was they were nosy and they didn't like you, and they're control freaks, and you name it. They wanted to see what they can do, yada, yada. That's the truth. But what they present and convince themselves, and what they present and convince others to get involved, is they suspect that you're some kind of a criminal, or that you're up to some kind of no good, the very no good criminality that they're all up to. Okay? But now, they're on a list. See, their obsessions with power and their obsessions with knowing your business and their obsessions with, you know, violating you and trying to set you up and entrap you in some kind of way has led them to being put on a list. They're on a list. The people who put the collective on a list are now on a list. So they're on a list, their friends, their family, their associates, where they frequent, what they do, their devices, their accounts, are now on a list. See, these people should have fucked off a long time ago. They should have fucked off a long time ago pertaining to you, collective. That's why I have on these little sleeves here. They should have fucked off. They really should have. And I'm talking about if this is your exes. I'm talking about if this is landlords, managers, ex-bosses, co-workers, you know, relatives, whoever it is that's connected to this, they should have fucked off a long time ago. So now they're on a list. They're on a list. Child. They're on a list. Aphrodite vision, number 8. Child. This is you, feminine. And look at, they're on a list. Now they on a list. They put you on a list, and now them and they people are on a list. I have vision, Aphrodite, the moon in the reverse, and fragment in the reverse. So the truth is coming out that, honey, you're a whole. They can't fragment you. Okay? You are a whole. You are complete. It's coming out that they was trying to obstruct and obscure justice and obstruct and obscure the truth about whoever you are. That's just what's coming out. That's why they're on the list. Them putting you on a list and got their ass on the list. This illusion. They couldn't break you with this shit, because this list shit was supposed to. This illusion and all this stuff. You see that moon? They always, for the ones that's into the practices, not all of them are, but for the ones that's into it, they always doing some weirdy shit with that. Others of them that's not into that shit, they're just always sneaking around at night doing shit. Okay? And they're always hiring people to do shit at night. Weirdos. Them putting the collective on a list done landed that ass on a list. Them exploiting their positions to be able to do that. That allows the illegal surveillance without due process. That allows that has the funding to hire community harassers and tapping into, yeah, that's a thing. It's a real thing. I promise you, I've been saying this for a while. That's the only reason why people are comfortable. They're only going to be comfortable for so long because, like I said, but that's the only reason, because of connection to the corruption. When that falls, then everything else and everybody else will. Okay? Ooh-wee. They put you on a list. Yeah, look it. There's a message that's going forward. There's a message that's going forward. They put you on a list. They were surveillancing your messages, surveillancing somebody else's messages. Okay, and it's gonna come out that, oh, they this whole this okay. It's coming out that, oh, this ain't got nothing to do with what they talking about. This has nothing to do with they suspect this person's dangerous. They suspect this person is a criminal. They suspect this person is doing something. No, they suspect that somebody like this person. It's a some high school shit. There's some insecurity here. There's some jealousy here. There's some one-sided competition, and they want to be nosy in other people's shit. That's what this is. That's what this is. They can't deny it no more. Somebody could have possibly had to tell the truth and couldn't deny something anymore, because I got denial in the reverse and message in the reverse and movement. This is undeniable. This is undeniable. Child. Choices. Look it. It's becoming clear that these people, this is like a Two of Swords energy coming in the reverse, that these people were rigid, maybe prejudiced, maybe was trying to compare with this black and white here. But, oh, damn it, I broke it down. But what's coming out is that, no, they wanted to watch somebody's options and choices. They wanted to see what you were choosing. That's not their business. Somebody chose to put folks on a list because they just wanted to see what you were doing and choosing, and or if someone else was choosing. They wanted to know what they had no business knowing. This is a story in some cases about jilted lovers, okay? Exes, people who, let's say somebody got married. This is so fascinating to me. Some of these people, my God, some of these people are married. Not all of them. Some of them are married. Some of them are in committed relationships that are like marriage. And it's them and they people. They got no business in your shit. Okay? And if it ain't the person that you were once with, it's them. It's their person that don't trust the person that they're with because they know that person may have had some kind of history. That's still a them problem, but because they know that that person has a history, they're exploiting their capabilities to tap into devices. Like I just said, on How I Met Your Mother, Ted ended up dating a cop that was psycho. So that's why she felt comfortable with behaving the way she felt, because she knew, you see what I'm saying? She wouldn't leave his house. He tried to call the cops, and guess what? She was the one dispatched. You see that kind of shit? So this could very well be something like that in here. Somebody's dating a cop, and their life ain't gonna ever be the same. If they either dated a cop or they dated someone whose family members are cops or something like that. And in law enforcement, and as a result, you just, ooh, well, I'm sorry, I guess I don't ever want to, because, you know, you under the gun. And if them people ain't right, they're exploiting that so they can keep tabs on you and who you talking to, and then on who they, you know what I'm saying? That's some crazy shit. That's why I say y'all better get with it. Y'all better get with it. Y'all be sitting up in here, you know what I'm saying, having these people on pedestals and stuff. And don't get me wrong, where there is decent law enforcement, respect, okay? I'm just gonna, I have to say that for the record, respect. Where there's decent law, decent government, you know, folks who are not corrupt and won't allow themselves to be corrupt, I got mad respect for that, because that we need more of that, okay? So it ain't like that, okay? I have, you know, an adverse effect to this toxicity, this blatant abuse of power. You know what I'm saying? With mental illness and personal issues. you know, I'm dating somebody, or my homeboy, my homegirl, we mad. You're like, okay, for real? Or, you know, like I said, when, you know, it don't even have to be dated related. Sometimes it's like, I don't like this person. I don't like this person. I don't like what they do. They sneaky. I don't like their spirituality. And these people have boundary issues. They have, you know, respect of boundaries and people's autonomy issues here. Anyway, they put the collective on the list, and now they're being exposed. Now they're being put on a list. Yep. We got the fledging in the reverse. Yeah. They're being exposed and being put to a halt with this fledging. Now they're feeling some kind of way. They could have tried to imply that, like I said, the collective was doing something. And it's like, wait a minute, the collective was not doing anything. There's something, yeah, rigid is in the reverse. Yeah. You broke free. You're breaking free. You don't care about their little list. In fact, you're gonna sue the draws off their ass. And you don't care how long it takes for this to be accomplished. Okay? Now they don't want to fight no more. Or at least that's what they're trying to act like. Child. They put you, the collective, on the list. Osiris, get your booty away from over there. Osiris, you're going to get it. Spank it. Spank it. You want his booty sore? Yeah. You got food in he bowl. Don't try to be sneaky. You just like my other son. Y'all think when I'm distracted that you want to go around and start tearing up. Woo. I'll play with you in a minute, okay? You want play? You want to play hunting? Huh? You want to play? I'll play with him in a minute. You got food in his bowl and you got his water. Yeah. Okay. I'll be done. I won't be a long time on this one, okay? I won't do no 3-hour reading. Okay, collective. A trauma bond has been broken. So if there were people that was trauma bonded to these energies who put the collective on a list, this trauma bond is broken. If people were trying to use trauma bonds or to keep you in some kind of trauma bond situation, that's broken. These people could also be upset with the collective because of that. If they had someone trauma bonded to them for a very long time, and maybe that trauma bond is broken, this also pushed them to want to put you on a list. But instead of owning that, they wanted to kind of hide it under some excuse. You know, I don't really trust this person. You know, they have some suspicious behavior. They're just walking around outside. Bitch, nigga, people can walk around outside. Now, how are you classifying a full-fledged campaign of people stalking and watching people for no reason when you all can't even manage to get down any real perps out here in these here streets? And if that's the case, you certainly would not be hiring any noisemakers if this was all sincere and legitimate cause here. Yeah. Because the mask is falling. Because when it's really to do with law and order, when it's really to do with something that's sincere and a true cause, you won't have this added twinge of toxicity involved there. Osiris, move his booty. Move his butt. Move his booty. Yes. Look at him. Okay, so they put the collective on a list, and now they're on a list. Why are these people on a list? Yeah, energy vampires, narcissists. Oh, I couldn't have made it up. It came out. I said, why are they on the list? I got narcissists, Why are they being put on the list now? Narcissists, energy vampires, because maybe somebody got drained by them. They don't have any supply. Maybe they didn't have any supply. Yeah. Bitch in the reverse. This could be collective. You aren't feeding into their narrative properly here. You're not giving them the stuff. And so as they're being put on the list, they're being watched. And as a result of them being watched, you're being watched. And it's coming out. It's coming out. Wow. Why are they being put on the list? The people who put the collective on the list. Why are they being put on the list? Because they're a bitch. It's coming out that they're a bitch. And that they did this because they were mad. It says narcissistic bitch. Ooh-wee. Podcast, influencer, simp. Yeah, because you ain't simping. Influencer here because, you know, you're telling the truth or something like that. Somebody stops simping because people are starting to speak up and say this person is an influencer and this person is a narcissistic bitch. Cult leader. And don't get too caught up with the role. But cult leader could be a community leader. A person that's just leading a community of people that are toxic and cult in nature. So it's all based on fear and control. They don't have to have on a robe. You know, we do get stuck there. Okay, so let's get a little bit. I promised Osiris that I'm not going to be forever, so. Oh, okay, I'm guided here. Bear with me. We're going to do that. And then I'm going to get a final message for you, collective, in terms of what you are empowered, you know, what you're managing to balance out regardless to all of this, to, you know, to keep you in the vibe that you're trying to be in, okay, that you're trying to stay aligned to, okay? Because again, these people ain't stopped. They still at their same antics. They're still at the noise makers. They're still illegally surveillancing you all spots and phones and all of those things. None of that has changed. None of that has stopped. Some of these people are doubling down, okay, at the wee hours of the morning and so forth when bitches and niggas should be asleep, especially bitches and niggas with churn and all that shit. So they doubling down. But let's see. So these people are being put on a list. Chances are this is higher authority that's not corrupt. Them putting you on a list got them placed on a list. To me, it's fascinating how people who love putting folks on a list and stalking folks get real nervous and have a problem with being on a list. You know what I'm saying? They get real nervous, have a problem. Okay, boom. So now they're being put on a list. What's happening? Why are they being put on a list? The people who put the divine, or should I say the benevolent collective, they're being put on a list because they tried to entrap you. They're a rat. They're gossips. They were spreading lies and rumors. They were trying to utilize their positions of power and resources to get you put in prison or entrapped in something. It could be because they got somebody put in prison. Yeah, journey. They was trying to get you off your journey. They fucked with people's lives. This ain't no game. This is why some people shouldn't have power. This is exactly why. People with God complexes, this is why some people shouldn't have power. This ain't no game. You don't play with people's life. Thinking there's going to be no consequence. What happened here? Why is imprisonment here? Maybe this indicated like this is illegal. What they did was illegal. Somebody could be telling on them. Yeah, occupation in the reverse. Yeah, this is illegal. You're not supposed to use your occupation to entrap other people. Their behavior and activity is absolutely illegal. This is not something that they're supposed to be doing under no circumstance for no reason. Utilizing technology and the resources and all of that for their own cause without due process. Because when you're suspicious, there's a protocol and there's a process. When it's sincere and legitimate, there's still, they know that, there's still a protocol that's supposed to be taken so that it can be looked into to see if this is something that is justifiably done. They didn't do that. Okay? They didn't. Somebody's going to go to jail, or somebody that went to jail and lost their job could have told. Yep. About the past, distant horizons in the reverse. This is about the past. This could have been 3 months ago, 9 months ago. Somebody could have did 3 months, 9 months. Somebody could have had house arrest. Somebody could have got fired. And as a result, this is coming out. Maybe you left a job and that could have perpetuated some kind of forward movement on some stuff as well of what people were doing, because these people have been infiltrating everything. And if people don't go through the proper channels, businesses can get in trouble, all sorts of things, because no matter how you flip the pancake, it's due process. And if that's not given, then they've already violated the system in which they're trying to use to stake claim on that the collective is some kind of danger or some kind of criminal or up to some kind of no good. It's coming out what happened in the past here. Yep, in the court, something with court is coming out, or they're under judgment. 23. Something is coming out. Maybe someone went to court and said something in court that went to jail, and maybe they told the story. And so now the people that put the collective on the list is now on a list. Despair, toil and labor. Somebody could have told like they didn't care. Somebody just needed a job or wanted a job, and they just did something because they needed money. This could have been somebody's confession in court. And that thief, adjudication, thief is in the reverse. Somebody could have been like, I wish I didn't do this. This person is not a thief. This person didn't steal anything. This person is not a criminal. I wish I didn't get involved with this. Somebody could have been saying, this was unfair. I wanted to make something right and fair. This person is exploiting the judicial system. So now they're on a list because the judicial system is coming in. The uncorrupt judicial system is watching them. They put you on a list. Now they're on a list. This was dishonorable. I told you. See, with occupation in reverse, imprisonment upright, and high honor reverse, this was dishonorable. What they did. It was dishonorable. Them trying to even claim that you were dishonorable to justify their dishonorable behavior is not going to hold weight. Because again, the judicial system, the law, the government, and its officials should know better that even under such cases, there's a thing called due process. If you are sincere. The problem is, you know you're not. This is why you bypassed it to begin with. And in most cases, They knew that you wasn't doing anything wrong. They knew that most of you all were out here just surviving, making the best of situations, making decisions based on the choices that you were presented to the best of your ability for you and your children. They know that. They know it. They know that. So, but all of this is just not going to hold weight. This was dishonorable, and this is a karmic feminine. She could be younger than you. I have main female in the reverse. This is a karmic feminine. And that got married, a marriage. In somebody's family room here in the reverse. Somebody who didn't want to work, toil and labor in reverse. Or somebody who could have been a couple who didn't want you, and there's the main now, didn't want somebody to work with you or something like that. Somebody who wanted to marry somebody or who got married. And guess what? If there was cheating, let's say collective, the story turns out that you were put in some kind of mistress situation and you didn't know nothing about that. Okay? But it could have come out that this, like I said, their person, and they could have been pissed about it, and maybe the truth, maybe that this person actually cared for you, whatever, and they decided to then abuse. Well, I'm going to watch because I'm going to make sure that that person never goes towards them, or I'm going to make sure, like, just over again. That's not healthy. But you know, everybody's journey is everybody's journey. It's like, you should get divorced if that's how you got to live, nigga. You just need to get you a whole new relationship. If that's the only way, violating their privacy, you already know they're a cheat, you accepted it. So how about looking at yourself? Get some self-love and some self-healing. Anyway. Karmic feminine is here. Then we have a main male in the upright. And privileged lady in the reverse. That's another karmic energy. Wealthy man in the reverse. Okay. So what's going on? They put the collective on the list, and now they're on a list. They put the collective on a list illegally. Abused power, abused the law, abused the judicial system, abused technology, deep state, fusion centers, corruption in police offices and stuff like that. So what's happening? Because now they're on a list. What's going on? Them putting the collective on a list has gotten them on a list. So what's happening? It's got them on a list. It's pertaining to your ex's honorable feminine. It says 3 masculines. Let's just say, shaking my head, 3 of swords. There's endings, harsh, painful endings here. Betrayal. These are 3 men that was involved. Good gracious. 3 of swords is leading. Gemini, Libra, Aquarius could be involved. That's definitely third party. That's definitely betrayal. What's going on now? Betrayal, huh? 10 of wands, clones, shaking my head, burden. They're burdened. These are copycats. This also could be to do with the surveillancing and cloning devices and tapping in and shit like that, and people that's doing so by cloning, doing so by copying. So look, check. If you can illegally surveillance, then you can basically try to mimic and copy everything because you're tapping into other people's shit. You're looking at what they're searching. You're looking at what they're posting. And if you have access to that, then you could essentially try to take on their persona. Basically. And try to pull it off as your own, because you're tapping into devices and accounts and things illegally. Yep. Baggage be gone is going into the reverse. Now they're back. Ooh, 10 of Wands upright. Child, they wish they didn't do it. Baggage be gone is in the reverse. Knight of Swords. There could be arguments. There could be cut off communication. There could be regret. Yeah, because they're being burdened because they're under surveillance. It's almost like, oof, they're on the list. They are on the list for putting you on a list. And all their connections. So that's why I said people better count. I warned everybody. You better count your loyalties. You better sit down and do the cost to benefit ratio, because what you connected to now is following you. If you involved, they're under the gun. So now they're going to watch you too, and you too, and you too, because you're connected to them. Your friends, your associates, they devices. You see that? So their text messaging, their phone calls. You check? Huh? Their social medias. What's happening here? Oh, we got this definitely to do with 3 masculines. We got 3 masculines here, or divine feminines, exes, and then we got 3 masculines here living in regret. King of Cups. This could be to do with a King of Cups. 6 of Pentacles in the reverse. Stuff is being taken from them. This was about reciprocity. These are people who did not want feminine to have balance and reciprocity, was involved with taking, was involved with trying to stop that. So now they're having some things affected here, because it's got masculines living in regret. They could end up going to jail for, either getting in some kind of trouble, going to jail, house arrest, something. Losing a job, or just having issues. Having some kind of issues, and it's directly connected to their involvement with whatever injustices has been done to feminine, with these people abusing the law and power and authority to interfere with her life. So these people breadcrumbed you, took from you, and now I got a King of Pentacles here, and it's going into reverse. So yeah, somebody is going through financial issues and losing stability. It has here something to do with feminine's father. If there was anything to do with the feminine's true father, her blood father, her handler, whatever, a father figure, if this is to do with anything that belonged to her, there, ooh, child. And people trying to, We got Virgo, Taurus, Cap, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio here, represented by masculine energy. And someone from her past, 6 of Cups. This could have been someone that she thought was a twin flame. It says, twin flame masculine is livid. Somebody's livid, because it's some betrayal going down. It's some burdens. They was fucking with clones, copycatters, wannabers. Okay? Involved themselves with stalking feminine and illegally surveillancing for harvesting and copying and trying to get them trapped up. And now we got the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. So this has to do with feminine's parents, her real parents, her birth parents, the people who she thought were her parents, because it says her divine feminine's mama ain't no good. You damn straight. None of them. Queen of Pentacles reverse, King of Pentacles. This is her karmic family. Somebody's karmic parents. This is also karmic couple. Okay, with this King and Queen of Pentacles in reverse, these are money hungry people. These are greedy people. These are entitled people. These are horrible mothers and fathers, horrible leaders, financially abusive, financially entitled. It says a new masculine's in love with divine feminine. Yeah. We got so we have 3 masculines, 2 of cups, 5 of wands in the reverse, major glow up in the reverse. So these people kept trying to steal your shine, feminine. These people keep trying to bring you down. They keep trying to affect your glow up. And so they're paying for it. These are people that should go under a medical evaluation. They're so busy trying to get the world to look at you like someone needing mental evaluation. These are all people that really, really sincerely and should seriously get medical evaluation. Because these are people that are hell-bent on trying to bring you down. That's a mental problem. Bring you down because you know the truth of them, because you won't tolerate the bullshit, because you're speaking the truth about what they've done to you, because you want nothing to do with some of them in some cases. That's mental illness. That's something that's needing to be, those are individuals that's needing to be brought in and evaluated. Okay. Yeah, they're losing. I've got the Ace of Pentacles is going in the reverse. So their offers are being rejected. They're losing what they had if they were exploiting their gifts. They're losing that. If they were stealing from you, they're losing that. Definitely something is being retracted and blocked. Okay, it says feminine realizes that 90% of those that are around her are children and adults' bodies. Yep. Yep, Seven of Pentacles, because again, with the Ace and the Seven, so that's what Eight of Pentacles going into the reverse. Yeah. Some of them are losing their jobs, or whatever they're doing is not working. It says feminine is healthy, investing, looking younger and finer. Yeah, feminine, they're paying for whatever they've been doing to affect your health and your well-being, to affect your offers, to affect your gifts, to steal from you. Okay? This was poor investments, and they're losing their plans and all of that shit. Their pentacles, their earth realm is definitely being affected, especially with King of Pentacles in the reverse, Queen of Pentacles in the reverse, Ace of Pentacles in the reverse, Seven of Pentacles in the reverse. Yeah, they're being affected for trying to affect yours. Yeah, and it's being clearly seen. Feminine, your relatives are involved in some of this. And this is what's coming out as well. It says, feminine's blood relatives are jealous, shaking my head. Two of Swords in the reverse. They were involved in this shit. Somebody may be squilling on the feminine's relatives that was a part of it, because they realized that their ass is supposed to go up shit's creek here. And these people ain't gonna think nothing about it. They're gonna be somewhere on the other side of the country. They're gonna be somewhere playing like Boo Boo the Fool. I don't know. We don't know what you're talking about. But see, this is something that's not gonna be deniable, because there's been communication. It's too late. It's too late. It's too late. King of Swords here. So here is the higher authority here. It was a masculine that had some kind of mother issues. Okay, so we got 3 kings on the board. Okay, we have one of them in the reverse, 2 of them in the upright. Okay, so there's definitely some clarity coming and some integral energy coming through, that this is being shown. Yeah, 5 of Wands is going into the reverse. Yeah, this stuff is ricocheting here. This chaos, this conflict is being put to an end. This is why these people are being put on a list, so that this could be put to an end, because they won't stop trying to bring a feminine down. They won't stop trying to bring chaos and conflict to this person. They won't stop trying to, in some cases, trying to unalive him or drain the life or attack. So now all these people are being put on a list. A King of Swords could have pulled out, because he realized these people, or there's authority coming in, and realized that these are nothing but a bunch of people who simply cannot stand to see these feminines happy, and they're abusing their power. So they're going to use the judicial system, the legal system, anything and everything that they can to try to stop the feminine's options and choices, or create blockages, to try to force these feminines into certain things, limiting their choices. To force a fight, like to force something. Feminine's not interested in none of these people, and ain't in competition with nobody. Yeah, Queen of Cups. So now we have a King and Queen of Cups in the upright. So it says that they're all going, what does it say? They're all, oh child. They over there doing something on some devices in the background now as I speak. Some shit possibly in one of my son's vents or in the spectrum equipment. But it's something over there. I can hear it. Yeah, they going through major changes in a negative way because it's becoming clear that that's what these people keep trying to create for these feminines. They're all going to pay for it. They're all going to go down, and some of them it says something else for continuing to try to create blockages. As the feminine, you're rising above this foolishness. So these people wanted power and control over you and wanted you to have money issues and restrictions because you keep rising above their foolishness. They wanted to be able to have power over you, to hold on to you, to hold on to your energy, to hold on to what was yours out of selfishness. Now they're livid. Karmic lovers are livid because you're holding back. And this is coming out that these people went this far because of it. Yep. You started loving on yourself. 9 of Swords here is going into the reverse. You know, you started clearing out this negativity. You started facing your fears. You stopped overthinking. You stopped stressing behind these people. Yeah, and these people didn't want to work healthily with you in a healthy way, but they didn't want anyone else to work with you. 3 of Wands. So this is coming out that there was a bunch of energies that did not want to work truly, sincerely, in a positive way with the collective, but they didn't want no one else to either. Yeah, good times. Queen of Swords in the upright. So we have a King and Queen of Cups in the upright. King and Queen of Swords in the upright. So this is aspects of feminine and masculine that's balancing out. Good times. You started cutting away happiness. And they didn't like that. You start being clear in your thinking and making executive healthy decisions. You start balancing your emotions and balancing your mind. And these people didn't like that. You stop caring. You stop being afraid. Stop worrying. Stop stressing. They're sore losers. Yeah. You didn't care. You walked away from family. Boom. So now they're going through major changes. They're being held back or something like that. They're going through some negative change for trying to have power and control over you and for attempting to poison you and attempting to like seduce you or use people for lying and all of that shit. Fake friend. It's trying to affect your dating life and all of those things. Okay, so final message. So in spite of all of this, okay, they put you on a list, and now they're on a list, and they're going through hell for it. There's 3+ men, possibly a couple or somebody's parents, karmic couple, karmic parent. Could be being betrayed by these very people. They could have put them in jail. Threw them under the bus. That was the plan in the first place. That's what some of these masters one day gonna figure out, that was always the plan. They pretended to love them just like they got the masculines to pretend to love the feminine. Okay, so in spite of all this, this is what you all are alchemizing and mastering. In spite of this, these people are on the list. So just know that, yeah, they're doing this shit to you, but just know every last one of they whole asses is being watched. If it's deep state is under the gun. If it's the police department, the police department and that precinct is under the gun. If it is landlords, property managers, and their staff, they are under the gun. If it is residents that they are hiring to do such things, just know they're under the gun. The people that's following you, they don't need to know. You need to know they under the gun. They're being watched. Everything about them, everything they do, everywhere they go, their devices, who they talking to, all of it. Who they're hiring, if they're going to practitioners, all of it under the gun. So in spite of all of this, this is what you all are mastering. Yep. It says letting go, just let go. Something with the air element. Bladder mudra. This is detoxifying, cleansing, it's stimulating circulation, and it raises your spirits. Your heart is being lifted. There is a spring in your step. Your head is free. Your actions are leading to success. You're clearing out all of this fog and haze and all of this shit in spite of all that. That's the air element here. That's what you're working through. In spite of this, so your head is clear. Connectedness, I belong. B mudra, I go out to meet nature. So connect with nature. Helping you to work through daily challenges, courage and determination. It's helping you to deal with any allergies, and it's helping to strengthen your immune system. So many of your immune systems is gaining stronger. I have anti-aging here, vitality is being restored. I look forward to life's adventures with enthusiasm, anticipation, and gusto. This is good for your lymphatic system, and it keeps you young. Maybe you work with mudras. Maybe you're being guided to. Confidence, yes. Faith. I know that it will turn out for the good. Wow. Let it be. Let something be. Healing. Let it be. Mm-hmm. Fairness. Yeah. Justice. Ooh-wee, y'all manifesting justice for the injustices here done to you. It says, I am not to judge. It says, your love heals my heart. Your strength strengthens me. Your goodness leads me to new endeavors. It's fortifying your solar plexus, and it's clearing your head, your centers, and stabilizes you. Wow. Purity, fresh and clean. Eases abdominal cramps, stimulates the intestinal activity. I am filled with inner freedom, ease, and joy. Drive. Yes, you're balancing this out. I'm bursting with energy, so you're restoring your energy and your drive, or you're balancing and redirecting your energy and drive. Nirvana. Welcoming your yearning. Beyond the beyond, beyond the furthest limits, I find light and bliss. Okay, there you have it. So in spite of this, you all are letting go, finding a sense of belonging with the earth or nature, revitalizing your youth with vitality, building up your confidence, creating justice, purifying your energy, balancing out your drive, welcoming in your desires, and tolerance, being generous. Without expectation, you are free. Okay, child, they put you on a list. They on a list. As annoying as this is, and I know, please still use wisdom and caution. If you're gonna file a RICO, all I can tell you is be diligent about what you need. Don't rush, but don't procrastinate. Because as I was delayed, I found out that there were other forms that I needed. I also found out I needed more information. And so the delay has helped me to put other things in order and perspective, to get the other form that I need, and to add additional players and additional information to my original filing. Okay, so that this is done properly. Okay. And, you know, just be wise, be safe, but live. A part of the robbery, and I know it's annoying, I do. It's a violation. You should be able to be human without having people all up in your get up. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, be strategic. Take on the strategies of famous people. Hey, Google, how do famous people deal with that? I know that they have security and, you know, different things that we don't have. But, you know, do they wear disguises? Do they wear glasses? Like, what do they do when they're trying to, like, just live life and they know that people are always watching them? Okay? You might have to take on that for a little bit. Okay? And just keep at it. When you're guided to shut down, shut down. When you're guided to move forward, move forward. When you feel like there's something unnatural trying to play with you, set intention to clear that. But on your terms, and just know all this pile of shit here, everybody's under the gun now. So they are getting to experience what they're creating for you. They wanted you uncomfortable. They wanted you to feel cornered in and ambushed. They wanted you to have absolutely no privacy. They wanted you to not have no human rights and no civil rights. So now they're about to experience that feeling. Everything that they do is being watched. Everywhere that they go is being watched. All of their accounts and devices are being watched. They brought it on themselves though, putting you on a list.